Human Orphan aided a crippled alien girl cross the river. At sunrise, 50 alien warriors arrived. The early morning mist hung over the forest like a soft, silver blanket. The river moved quickly, carrying leaves and small twigs along its surface. The sunlight had not fully broken through the tall, crystal-like trees, and the forest was quiet except for the sound of water. Birds with shimmering feathers chirped softly in the distance. The air smelled fresh and cool, carrying a hint of wildflowers and damp earth. A young human boy walked along the riverbank. His clothes were worn and his bare feet were muddy, but his eyes were bright with curiosity and courage. He was small, but he carried himself with a careful confidence, knowing the forest could be dangerous. He had been an orphan for as long as he could remember. The humans who had raised him were gone, leaving him to wander this strange world alone. But he had learned many things. He could find food, build shelters, and survive where others might fail. Today he was looking for firewood. The sun was about to rise, and he wanted to have a fire ready. He picked up fallen branches, arranging them into a small pile. His movements were quick and careful, making sure he did not disturb the animals nearby. Suddenly he heard a sound that was not natural. It was a cry, soft but filled with pain. He paused and listened. It came from across the river. He looked and saw a small figure struggling in the water. At first he thought it was an animal, but then he saw her shape. She was not human. Her skin was a pale blue, and her arms were thin and delicate. She had two large eyes that seemed frightened and confused. Her legs were twisted in a way that made walking impossible. She tried to pull herself to a small raft made of logs, but the river was strong, and the raft kept turning. Without thinking, the boy ran along the bank. He looked around for anything that could help. He found a long, sturdy branch and ran to the water's edge. "Hold on," he shouted. His voice echoed softly across the river. The alien girl looked at him, her eyes wide with fear and hope. She reached out, and he carefully placed the branch in the water, letting her grab it. He pulled with all his strength, feeling the weight of the current against him. Step by step, he guided the raft closer to the shore. When she finally reached him, she collapsed on the riverbank, gasping for breath. The boy helped her sit up, supporting her gently. "Are you okay?" he asked. She tried to speak, but her voice was weak. She shook her head, pointing to her legs. He understood. She could not walk. She had been alone and helpless in the river, and he had saved her. The boy looked around. The forest was quiet again, but he knew danger could come at any moment. Strange creatures lived in this world, and not all of them were friendly. He looked at the alien girl and realized that helping her would not be easy. She could not move on her own, and he did not have any way to carry her, but he refused to leave her behind. He took off his backpack and carefully lifted her into it, making sure she was comfortable. She looked up at him with large, grateful eyes. He smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. Helping others made him feel alive. He started walking along the riverbank again, looking for a safe place to rest. The forest was dense, with towering trees and thick undergrowth. Strange flowers glowed faintly in the dim light, and small animals scurried at their feet. The boy moved quietly, careful not to make noise that could attract predators. Every step was cautious, but his mind was alert. He had learned to survive by thinking ahead, by noticing small details others might miss. Today, he would need all his skills. As they walked, the alien girl pointed to a mark on her arm. It looked like a symbol carved in her skin. He could not understand it, but he realized it must be important. She tried to speak, and this time he understood a single word: chased. His eyes widened. Someone had been chasing her. She was running from her own people. The thought made him nervous, but he did not let it show. He would protect her. The sun started to rise, breaking through the trees with golden light. The river shimmered, and the forest seemed to come alive. Birds flew in patterns above, and the leaves sparkled with dew. The boy stopped for a moment, taking a deep breath. He felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. The alien girl looked at the sunrise too, her eyes reflecting the colors of the sky. It was a moment of peace, but he knew it would not last. Suddenly, movement in the trees caught his eye. He froze. At first, he thought it was a small animal, but then he saw shapes, figures moving quickly and silently. He held the alien girl close, hiding her behind him. His heart raced. There were many of them. He counted at least 50 figures, tall and strong, with armor that reflected the sunlight. Alien warriors. They had come for her. He knew they could not outrun so many, and fighting them was impossible. But he did not panic. He had learned to use his mind as a weapon. He looked around, searching for a place to hide or a way to slow them down. He noticed large rocks near the riverbank and a fallen tree that could serve as a barrier. He whispered to the alien girl to stay quiet. She nodded, understanding that he would protect her no matter what. The warriors moved closer, their steps silent but certain. They scanned the forest, their eyes sharp, trained to detect any movement. The boy held his breath, calculating his next move. He picked up a few stones and small branches, tossing them into the opposite direction of the warriors. The sound made them turn, giving him a few precious moments. He led the alien girl toward the fallen tree, using it as a shield. They crouched behind it, the boy thinking quickly. He had to cross the river again, but the current was strong and the raft had been swept away. He looked at the river and noticed a natural bridge of rocks partially submerged. It was risky, but it might work. He helped the alien girl balance as they carefully moved from one rock to another. Her arms wrapped around his neck, trusting him completely. Step by step, they moved, the water rushing around them. Finally, they reached the other side. The boy set her down gently, holding her hand. They were safe for now, but he knew the warriors would not give up. They would track her, and the boy had to be ready. He looked back at the sunrise, feeling a sense of determination. He would not let them take her. Not while he was near. As they rested briefly, he shared food he had collected, small fruits and nuts. The alien girl tasted them hesitantly but soon ate eagerly. She seemed to gain strength with every bite. He watched her carefully, noting the way she moved and her reactions. Even though she was different, he felt a connection. He had never met anyone like her, and he realized that helping her was more than an act of kindness. It was a choice to stand up for what was right. The boy thought about the journey ahead. The forest was vast and dangers lurked everywhere. He would need to use every skill he had learned. He would need courage, patience, and cleverness. But he was ready. He had survived before, and he would survive again for both of them. The alien girl looked at him, her eyes shining with gratitude and trust. She tried to smile, and he returned it. Words were not needed. They had formed a bond, unspoken but strong. Together, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The forest seemed calm again, but the boy knew it was only temporary. The warriors were still out there, searching. He could feel it, but he was not afraid. He had the sunrise, the river, and a small alien girl who trusted him completely, and that was enough. He helped her to her feet, supporting her carefully. Step by step, they moved deeper into the forest, away from the riverbank. The mist began to lift, revealing strange plants and glowing fungi. Birds sang, and small creatures scurried around them. The boy felt a sense of wonder despite the danger. He had never seen a forest like this. It was beautiful, wild, and alive. As they walked, he thought about the future. They needed a safe place to hide, a place where the alien girl could recover and regain her strength. He noticed a faint path leading to a small hill. It seemed less traveled, and he hoped it would provide shelter. He guided her carefully, making sure her steps were steady. Finally, they reached a small clearing. Sunlight poured through the trees, casting warm light on the ground. The boy looked around and saw a hollowed tree that could serve as a temporary shelter. He helped the alien girl inside and gathered dry leaves and branches to make her comfortable. She lay down, closing her eyes for a moment. The boy sat nearby, keeping watch. His mind raced with plans. He would need to find food, water, and a way to defend them if the warriors found them. But he felt ready. He had survived this long, and he would survive longer. And now he had a reason, not just to survive, but to protect someone who could not protect herself. The forest grew brighter as the sun rose higher. The river sparkled in the distance, and birds flitted from tree to tree. The boy looked at the alien girl and smiled softly. She had made it this far, and with his help, she would go further. Together, they would face the dangers of this world, and together they would survive. For the first time in a long while, the boy felt hope. The sunrise had not just brought light to the forest, but also courage to his heart. He was ready for whatever came next. The journey was only beginning, and he would meet it head-on. With the alien girl by his side, he was no longer alone. The forest whispered around them, full of life and secrets. The river flowed endlessly, carrying dreams and dangers alike. And the boy, small but brave, took the first step into a larger world, ready to fight, ready to protect, and ready to show what a human could do when courage and compassion led the way. The forest seemed peaceful at first, but the boy knew it was only an illusion. The warriors who had been watching from the riverbank were still out there. He could feel it in the way the wind shifted and how the birds suddenly fell silent. The alien girl, still weak from the river, leaned against him as they moved through the dense undergrowth. Every step was careful. The forest floor was uneven, covered in roots and strange, glowing moss that glowed faintly under the rising sun. He guided her by holding her hand and helping her over roots and rocks. Her trust in him gave him courage. As they moved deeper into the forest, she whispered a few words, pointing to marks on trees and strange symbols etched into the rocks. He could not understand the language, but he noticed a pattern. The symbols seemed to mark a path, maybe a trail the alien girl had used before. Following it carefully, they avoided patches of quicksand-like moss and pools of deep water. The boy's senses were alert. Every sound, every shadow could be a warning. He had learned long ago that in a wild world, caution was as important as strength. The forest opened into a narrow canyon. Tall rocks surrounded them on both sides, and the path ahead was steep and dangerous. The boy stopped, examining the terrain. The alien girl looked at him, her eyes filled with worry. He shook his head, signaling that everything would be fine. He looked for a safe way to move her through the canyon. A fallen tree stretched across a small gap, forming a natural bridge. It wobbled slightly in the breeze, but it was their only way forward. He helped her step onto the tree first. Her small arms gripped his shoulders as he guided her carefully. The tree creaked, but it held their weight. Step by step, they crossed the narrow gap. On the other side, the boy quickly scanned the area. His heart skipped a beat when he noticed movement in the shadows. The alien warriors were closing in. They moved swiftly, silent, and coordinated. The boy knew there was no time to waste. He grabbed a few stones and threw them into the bushes. The sound distracted some of the warriors, giving him precious seconds to pull the alien girl behind a rock. They crouched there, barely breathing, as the warriors searched. Their armor glimmered in the sunlight, reflecting the golden rays of the rising sun. The boy's mind worked fast. Fighting them directly was impossible. They were too many, too strong, and too well-trained. But the forest gave him an advantage. He knew it better than they did. He pointed to the cliff edge above them and whispered a plan. Using vines and fallen branches, they could climb higher and hide where the warriors might not see them. With great care, he helped her climb. Her small hands clung to the vines, and he stayed close, supporting her. Step by step, they reached a ledge that overlooked the canyon. From this height, they could see the warriors moving below. The boy noticed their strategy. They were spreading out, covering the path. He realized they could not stay here for long. They had to keep moving. The alien girl tried to speak, pointing to the warriors with a trembling finger. The boy nodded. He understood her fear. He took her hand and led her along the ledge, moving silently. The rocks were sharp and the drop below was dangerous, but there was no choice. They had to escape. As they moved, he noticed small holes in the cliff, natural shelters. He guided her into one, hiding them from view. They crouched there, holding their breath, listening to the sounds of the warriors below. The boy thought about what to do next. The warriors would not give up easily. They were relentless, and their goal was clear. They had been sent to capture the alien girl. She looked at him, her large eyes filled with worry and hope. He reached out and held her hand. "We will be safe," he whispered. "We just have to be clever." She nodded, trusting him completely. That trust made him feel stronger, braver than he had ever felt before. Hours passed as they waited in the hidden shelter. The sun climbed higher and the forest became brighter. Birds returned and the wind shifted gently through the trees. The warriors moved cautiously, scanning the canyon below. The boy observed them through a small gap in the rocks. They were organized, using signals and patterns to cover the area, but even the best warriors could not see everything. The boy began to plan. He needed a distraction, something to slow them down while they escaped. He found a cluster of large rocks above the canyon. Using a long stick, he loosened some of them, letting them tumble down. The noise echoed through the canyon, drawing the attention of the warriors. They looked up, their eyes scanning the cliffs. The boy used this moment to lead the alien girl along a hidden path he had noticed earlier. The path was narrow, winding, and covered with dense shrubs. It was difficult to move through, but it kept them hidden from the warriors' view. By midday, they reached a small stream. The water was clear, and the boy stopped to let her drink. She touched the water gently, and he smiled at her curiosity. "We have to keep moving," he said softly. She nodded. He helped her across the stream, using stones as stepping points. Her small feet balanced carefully, and he stayed close to prevent her from falling. Each successful step gave her confidence, and he felt proud of her courage. The forest grew denser as they moved farther from the canyon. Strange plants with glowing leaves surrounded them, and small animals peeked from the undergrowth. The boy realized they needed a place to rest. He found a hidden clearing, partially shielded by large ferns and rocks. It was small, but it offered some protection. He helped the alien girl lie down, gathering leaves and moss to make her comfortable. She closed her eyes, exhausted from the journey. While she rested, the boy looked around for danger. He noticed faint tracks in the soil, signs that the warriors were still following. He knew they had little time. They needed a more secure hiding place, somewhere the warriors could not reach easily. As he studied the area, he found a hollow tree large enough to shelter them both. He helped the alien girl inside, arranging moss and leaves for comfort. She smiled faintly, feeling safe for the first time in hours. The boy sat outside the tree, keeping watch. He thought about the challenges ahead. They were far from safe, and the warriors would not give up easily, but he was determined. He had survived many dangers before, and now he had a purpose beyond himself. He would protect this alien girl, help her escape, and show that even a human alone in a strange world could be brave and clever. As the afternoon sun filtered through the trees, he noticed a faint glow in the distance. It was a small village of alien outcasts living quietly among the forest. The boy realized they could help them. The alien girl could find allies there, and they could rest and recover. He decided to lead her there, even though it meant moving through dangerous territory. Step by step, he guided her, using every trick he knew to avoid detection. The path was difficult. Roots and vines blocked their way, and small creatures scurried at their feet. The alien girl leaned on him for support, and he encouraged her with gentle words. "Almost there," he whispered. "We are close." She smiled faintly, her trust in him giving her strength. He felt a surge of pride and determination. Together, they could overcome any challenge. As they approached the village, they saw signs of life, small lights, smoke rising from chimneys, and figures moving among the trees. The boy realized they were not alone. The village welcomed travelers cautiously, but the boy's calm and careful movements showed that he meant no harm. The alien girl's presence spoke for itself. She was one of them, yet different, and the villagers seemed to understand that. They were led to a small shelter within the village. The alien girl lay down, exhausted but relieved. The boy sat nearby, watching over her. He felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. They had escaped the immediate danger, but the warriors were still out there. They would need to be ready for whatever came next. But for now, they were safe, and that was enough. The boy thought about what had brought them here. He realized that courage, cleverness, and compassion had guided them through the forest. He had used his skills to protect someone who could not protect herself. And in doing so, he had discovered a bond that was stronger than fear. The alien girl trusted him completely, and he had promised to keep her safe. That promise gave him purpose and strength. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest. The boy looked at the alien girl and smiled softly. She returned the smile faintly, her eyes shining with gratitude. They had faced danger together, and they had survived. The forest, once threatening, now seemed full of possibilities. The boy realized that survival was not just about avoiding danger. It was about courage, trust, and cleverness. Night fell, and the village grew quiet. The boy stayed alert, listening for any signs of the warriors. But as the stars appeared in the sky, he felt a sense of peace. They had made it this far, and they would continue. Together, they could face whatever dangers the world had in store. The journey was far from over, but they had taken the first steps toward freedom. The boy helped the alien girl lie down comfortably, covering her with soft leaves and moss. He stayed nearby, keeping watch through the night. The forest whispered around them, full of life and secrets. The river flowed endlessly, carrying dreams and dangers alike. And the boy, small but brave, prepared for the challenges ahead, ready to show what a human could do when courage and compassion led the way. The morning light filtered gently through the leaves as the boy and the alien girl left the village behind. The villagers had given them food, advice, and a place to rest, but the boy knew it was not safe to stay long. The warriors were still out there, and they would not stop until they found her. He helped her stand, supporting her small, fragile frame. Her legs were still weak, but she moved with determination, leaning on him when necessary. He admired her courage. Despite everything, she refused to give up. They followed a faint trail that led deeper into the forest. The boy kept his eyes sharp, scanning for movement, listening for sounds that were out of place. Every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig made his heart race, but he remained calm. The alien girl trusted him completely, and he could not afford to show fear. He whispered to her to stay quiet and move slowly, and she obeyed, her trust in him giving her courage. As they moved, the forest changed. The trees grew taller and closer together, their trunks covered in glowing moss. Strange plants with soft light surrounded them, and small creatures peeked at them from behind rocks and branches. The boy felt a sense of wonder despite the danger. He had never seen anything like this. It was a wild, beautiful, and dangerous place. He knew it could be their ally if they used it wisely. After a while, they came to a hidden canyon. The boy noticed a narrow passage at the base of the cliffs. It looked like it had not been used for a long time. He guided the alien girl carefully toward it. The entrance was partially hidden by vines and moss, making it almost invisible from above. "This way," he whispered, helping her through the opening. Inside, the canyon walls rose high above them, and the light dimmed. It was quiet except for the soft trickle of water from a small stream that ran through the canyon. The canyon led them to a small opening where sunlight barely reached the ground. There, the boy discovered a hidden sanctuary. The place was filled with alien structures, old and overgrown with vines, but still functional. Small robots moved quietly among the ruins, tending to gardens and collecting water. The boy's eyes widened in surprise. He had never seen such advanced technology, and yet it seemed peaceful and safe. This could be the perfect place for them to hide, at least for a while. He helped the alien girl move inside the sanctuary. She looked around with wide eyes, amazed at the beauty and complexity of the place. Strange lights glowed in the walls, and soft music seemed to hum from nowhere. The boy noticed that the ground was even and clear, making it easier for her to rest. They found a small room with cushions and soft mats, and he helped her lie down. She closed her eyes, exhausted, and he felt a sense of relief. She was safe, for now. The boy explored the sanctuary, learning its secrets. He discovered small machines that produced food, filtered water, and even generated light. He realized that the place had been abandoned long ago by its original inhabitants, but maintained itself with the old technology. He used his hands and simple tools to repair a few broken devices. His human ingenuity allowed him to understand how the machines worked, even though they were alien. He felt proud of himself. Helping her survive was not just about courage, it was also about cleverness and skill. As he worked, the alien girl watched him with admiration. She had never seen a human act so bravely and carefully. He did not rush, he thought through each step, and he risked nothing unnecessarily. She realized that humans could be clever in ways her own species sometimes was not. She felt a growing trust and respect for him. He noticed her interest and explained softly what he was doing, pointing to wires, gears, and symbols. She nodded, learning from him, even though she could not touch the machines herself. The sanctuary offered more than just safety. It had hidden passageways, secret rooms, and high vantage points. The boy and the alien girl could move quickly and quietly, avoiding any danger. He taught her how to use the sanctuary to her advantage. They practiced moving silently, hiding behind walls, and using the small machines as distractions. She learned quickly, and he felt proud of her bravery. Together, they were becoming a team, preparing for the challenges ahead. Suddenly, movement at the entrance of the sanctuary caught his attention. He froze and listened carefully. The warriors had tracked them this far. The boy whispered to the alien girl to stay hidden. He peeked around a corner and saw their armored figures moving slowly through the forest, scanning for signs of life. There were 50 of them, organized and determined. The boy's heart raced, but he did not panic. He had prepared for this. He had traps, distractions, and the sanctuary itself as an advantage. He quickly led the alien girl to a hidden room. It was small, with only enough space for them to crouch. He used vines and rocks to create a barrier, making it almost invisible. She stayed quiet, holding her breath, trusting him completely. The warriors entered the sanctuary, their eyes scanning the area. They were precise, but the boy had prepared small machines to make noise in different areas. When the warriors approached, the machines activated, drawing them away from the hidden room. The boy and the alien girl waited patiently. They could hear the warriors moving, searching, and sometimes communicating in low, harsh tones. Hours passed. The boy whispered to her, explaining that patience was as important as strength. They stayed hidden until the warriors finally moved away from the immediate area. The sanctuary had given them an advantage. Its old machines, hidden rooms, and natural camouflage allowed them to survive. When the warriors left, the boy led the alien girl out of the hidden room. They moved quietly through the sanctuary, avoiding any signs of the intruders. The boy noticed that the alien girl had grown stronger. She walked with a little more confidence, leaning less on him. He smiled, feeling proud. Their journey was dangerous, but every step built courage and skill. She was learning to survive, and he was teaching her how to be clever and cautious. As evening approached, they found a small terrace overlooking a valley. The sun painted the sky in gold and pink. They rested there, enjoying a rare moment of peace. The boy shared the food they had carried, and she ate eagerly. She smiled faintly at him, a gesture of gratitude and trust. He returned the smile, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had saved her once, and he would continue to protect her. Together, they were stronger than the dangers that surrounded them. The night in the sanctuary was quiet but alive. Strange lights glowed along the walls, and small machines moved softly, maintaining the place. The boy and the alien girl lay down on mats, tired but safe. He kept watch at first, observing every shadow and sound. Slowly, he allowed himself to relax, trusting that the sanctuary would protect them through the night. She slept peacefully, and he felt a sense of accomplishment. They had survived another day, and the warriors had not caught them. The next morning, the boy explored more of the sanctuary. He found a small room filled with strange devices, one of which seemed to be a teleportation machine. It was old and partially damaged, but he could see how it might work. He realized that if repaired, it could be their chance to escape the warriors entirely. He explained to the alien girl what he had found. Her eyes widened with hope. Together, they could leave this dangerous world behind, or at least reach a place where they would be safe. Repairing the machine was difficult. Its technology was alien, unlike anything the boy had seen before. But he used logic, observation, and careful experimentation. Slowly, he managed to fix the basic functions. The alien girl helped by activating controls he could not reach. Together, they worked as a team, combining human ingenuity with her knowledge of her own species' technology. Each small success gave them hope and confidence. As they worked, the boy thought about what lay ahead. Using the teleportation machine would be risky. They did not know where it would take them, and the process could be dangerous if not done carefully. But staying in the sanctuary was not an option. The warriors were still out there, and they would return. The boy looked at the alien girl, seeing her trust in him. He knew he had to act no matter the risk. By the afternoon, the machine was ready. It hummed softly, glowing with faint light. The boy and the alien girl looked at each other. They were both nervous but determined. He reached out his hand, and she took it. Together, they stepped into the machine, feeling a strange vibration as it activated. The light grew brighter, surrounding them completely. The forest, the sanctuary, and the warriors disappeared in a flash. They were leaving behind everything they had known, stepping into the unknown. When the light faded, they found themselves in a new place. A serene valley with soft grass, clear streams, and trees that swayed gently in the wind. The alien girl looked around, amazed. She could walk more easily here, and the boy realized that the machine had taken them to a safe place. They were free from the immediate danger of the warriors. He smiled, feeling a deep sense of relief. They had survived, and they had each other. They rested in the valley, enjoying the peace and safety. The boy felt proud of their journey. They had faced danger, used their intelligence, and survived together. The alien girl looked at him with gratitude and trust. He knew that this was only the beginning of their adventure, but for now, they were safe. They had proven that courage, cleverness, and teamwork could overcome even the greatest challenges. As the sun set over the valley, the boy and the alien girl sat together, watching the colors change in the sky. They had escaped the warriors, found a hidden sanctuary, and discovered a way to a new world. They were tired but happy. The boy realized that human determination, skill, and compassion had made all the difference. And the alien girl had shown him that trust and courage could create unbreakable bonds. The valley was quiet, bathed in golden sunlight as the boy and the alien girl moved cautiously through the soft grass. The teleportation had taken them far from the forest and the sanctuary, but the boy knew they were not completely safe. He could feel that danger still lurked, and the alien warriors were relentless. Even in this new place, he had to stay alert. He helped the alien girl walk, supporting her weak legs. She had gained some strength, but she still relied on him for balance. They followed a narrow path along a stream that wound through the valley. The water was clear and fresh, and the boy dipped his hands in, offering her a drink. She drank slowly, then looked up at him with gratitude. He smiled, feeling proud of her courage. Every step they took was careful. He had learned to move silently, watching the terrain, the shadows, and the wind. He knew the warriors could track them if they were careless. As they moved, the valley opened into rolling plains with scattered trees. The boy paused, scanning the horizon. In the distance, he saw faint movement, shapes moving steadily toward them. His heart skipped a beat. The warriors had found them. He crouched low and whispered to the alien girl to stay quiet. "We have to be clever," he said. She nodded, gripping his hand tightly. Together, they began to look for a way to use the landscape to their advantage. The plains offered few hiding places, but the boy noticed a series of low hills ahead. If they could reach the hills, they could gain higher ground and use the terrain for protection. He led her carefully, moving through tall grass that almost reached her shoulders. Every step was calculated. He stopped frequently, listening for the sound of approaching footsteps. The warriors were fast, but he had learned to anticipate their movements. As they reached the first hill, the boy noticed something useful, a cluster of large boulders near the top. He guided the alien girl behind them, crouching low. From this vantage point, they could see the warriors spreading across the plains. Their armor glinted in the sunlight, and they moved with precision, but the boy had a plan. He picked up a few loose rocks and threw them down the slope. The sound echoed across the plains, drawing the attention of some warriors. Others continued moving forward, unaware of the distraction. The boy whispered instructions to the alien girl. "When I say now, run to the next hill," he said. She nodded. Timing was critical. They had to move together, using every trick they had learned in the forest and sanctuary. He counted silently, 1, 2, 3, and they dashed toward the next hill. The warriors noticed too late. The boy and the alien girl were already behind cover, hidden from view. Their small size, combined with careful movement, made them difficult to track. The warriors advanced slowly, scanning the hills for signs of life. The boy watched their patterns, noting how they communicated silently with hand signals. He realized they were well-trained, but not perfect. Humans were clever in ways that relied on creativity rather than strength. He whispered to the alien girl to stay low, then found a narrow ridge that connected the hills. It was risky, but it would allow them to move without being seen. Step by step, they moved along the ridge. The wind carried their scent away from the warriors below, and the tall grass hid their movements. They reached the next hill safely, crouching behind a cluster of boulders. The boy took a deep breath, knowing they were close to the warriors now. He had prepared simple traps in the area, loose stones tied to vines, small tripwires that could create noise or imbalance the warriors. He pointed to them and explained how to use them. The alien girl listened carefully, understanding without needing to speak. As the warriors climbed the hills, the boy triggered the first trap. A stone rolled down, striking a tree and creating a loud crash. The warriors turned, searching for the source. Another trap sent a small vine snapping across the path, causing a warrior to stumble slightly. The boy and the alien girl moved quickly, using the confusion to reach the top of the hill. From this height, they could see the warriors spread across the valley. Their plan was working, but the boy knew the danger was far from over. The alien girl rested for a moment, catching her breath. She looked at him with wide eyes, amazed at his cleverness. "Humans are strong in ways I did not understand," she whispered. He smiled, feeling proud. "We survive by thinking," he replied. "Strength is only part of it. Cleverness keeps us alive." She nodded, realizing that her trust in him had been well placed. Together they had survived forests, rivers, and hidden sanctuaries. Now they faced the warriors again, but they were ready. The sun was high in the sky, casting long shadows across the valley. The boy led the alien girl to another set of rocks that formed a natural barricade. From this position, they could see the warriors approaching more closely. The boy thought quickly. Fighting them directly would be too dangerous, but outsmarting them was possible. He noticed a series of small gullies nearby, shallow dips in the ground that could hide them or channel the warriors into narrow paths. He guided the alien girl to the first gully, crouching low as they moved. The warriors were almost within sight now. The boy grabbed a few loose branches and scattered them behind, creating false tracks. The warriors followed the misleading trails, their attention divided. The boy and the alien girl slipped from gully to gully, using the terrain like a shield. Every step required balance, patience, and careful timing. They could not afford mistakes. Suddenly, one warrior spotted movement near a boulder. He raised his hand, signaling the others. The boy froze, thinking quickly. He picked up a small rock and threw it toward a distant tree. The sound drew the warrior's attention, causing him to hesitate. The boy seized the moment, pulling the alien girl to the next gully. The warriors were skilled, but they could not see everything. Human creativity and courage gave them an edge. They moved swiftly across the valley, using every trick they had learned in the forest and sanctuary. They created distractions, used shadows, and stayed low to the ground. The alien girl began to move more confidently, relying less on the boy for support. Step by step, they advanced toward higher ground where the terrain could provide better protection. The boy felt a surge of pride. They were working as a team, clever and brave, and it was keeping them alive. As they reached a small ridge, the boy noticed a natural tunnel formed by overhanging rocks and thick vines. It looked dark, narrow, and hidden. He realized it could be their best chance to hide from the warriors completely. He led the alien girl carefully, checking for stability and safety. Inside, it was cool and quiet, with soft moss covering the ground. They could see the valley from a small opening at the far end, but the warriors could not. They waited in the tunnel, breathing quietly. The warriors moved across the valley, searching but unable to find them. The boy whispered to the alien girl that patience was their greatest weapon. She nodded, understanding that survival often meant waiting and thinking rather than running or fighting. They had already survived rivers, forests, and hidden sanctuaries. Now they survived by cleverness and trust in each other. Hours passed as they stayed hidden. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the valley. The boy and the alien girl rested, eating the small amount of food they had. He noticed her strength returning slowly. She moved her legs, testing them carefully, and smiled faintly. He smiled back, feeling proud. They had come so far together and they had survived every challenge. The warriors were persistent, but so were they. As night fell, the boy used the darkness to their advantage. He guided the alien girl along the tunnel, toward a series of rocks that overlooked the valley. From this position, they could see the warriors searching below, unaware of their hiding place. The boy pointed to a small stream in the distance. "We can use that to move quietly," he whispered. She nodded. They prepared to leave the tunnel, using the cover of darkness to continue their journey. The night was quiet except for the sound of the stream and the rustling of leaves. The boy and the alien girl moved carefully, staying low and silent. They reached the stream without being noticed. The water was cold, but it allowed them to move without leaving tracks. The warriors spread across the valley, but their armor made noise on the rocks, giving the boy and the alien girl a chance to escape. Every step was cautious, but progress was steady. By midnight, they had reached a small grove with tall trees and thick undergrowth. It was safer here, and the boy decided they could rest for a while. He helped the alien girl lie down, arranging leaves and moss for comfort. She closed her eyes, exhausted but safe for the moment. The boy sat nearby, keeping watch, thinking about the journey ahead. They had survived another day, and they were still free. His mind raced with ideas for how to keep them alive, but for now, rest was more important. As he looked at the alien girl sleeping peacefully, he felt a deep sense of pride and purpose. They had faced rivers, forests, hidden sanctuaries, and now open plains with warriors chasing them. Every challenge had been met with courage, cleverness, and trust. Together, they had survived, and together, they would continue to face whatever dangers lay ahead. The boy knew that human ingenuity and bravery had kept them alive, and it would continue to do so. The valley was quiet under the moonlight. Stars reflected in the stream, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. The boy stayed alert, knowing the warriors were still out there searching, but he felt confident. They had escaped many dangers before, and they could escape again. The alien girl's trust in him was a source of strength, and her courage inspired him. Together they were unstoppable, not through force alone, but through cleverness, courage, and teamwork. The valley was quiet under the pale light of dawn. The boy and the alien girl had rested through the night, hidden safely in the grove. The soft rustling of leaves and the gentle flow of the stream created a sense of peace, but the boy knew the danger was not gone. The warriors were persistent and would continue to track them. Every step had to be careful. He helped the alien girl to her feet, supporting her as she stretched her legs. She was stronger than yesterday, more confident in her movements, but she still relied on him for balance. They moved slowly through the grove, keeping to the shadows of the trees. The valley ahead opened into a wide plain with rolling hills, but there were pockets of rocks and small shrubs they could use for cover. The boy led the alien girl carefully, analyzing the terrain and watching for any signs of movement. Even in the quiet, he felt the tension of being hunted, but he refused to let fear control them. Courage, cleverness, and careful planning would keep them alive. As they reached the edge of the grove, movement in the distance caught the boy's attention. 50 armored figures were approaching across the plain. The warriors had tracked them again. The boy's heart raced, but he quickly focused. Running alone across open ground would be suicidal, but using the terrain wisely could give them a chance. He pointed to a series of large boulders and low hills scattered across the plain. "We can use those," he whispered. "We move carefully, one step at a time." The alien girl nodded, understanding that timing and strategy would be their weapons. They advanced slowly, keeping low to the ground. The boy threw small stones ahead, creating sounds to mislead the warriors. A few of the warriors moved toward the noise, leaving gaps in their formation. Step by step, they moved behind the rocks, using shadows and small gullies to stay hidden. Every movement required careful calculation. The alien girl relied on his guidance, and he was constantly aware of her safety. Together, they moved like a single unit, silent and alert. The warriors spread out, scanning the plain with precision. The boy observed their patterns, noting how they communicated with hand signals and gestures. They were well trained, but not perfect. He whispered to the alien girl to stay still while he prepared a distraction. He gathered loose branches and tied them together with vines, creating small tripwires across a narrow gap between rocks. When the warriors approached, the tripwires snapped, sending branches clattering and causing confusion. The boy and the alien girl moved swiftly to the next cover while the warriors were momentarily distracted. They reached a small ridge overlooking the plain. From this height, the boy could see the warriors more clearly. They were closing in, but there was still time to act. He noticed a narrow valley nearby that could channel the warriors into a confined space. If they could lure them there, the warriors' numbers would become a disadvantage. He whispered the plan to the alien girl. She listened carefully, understanding that this was their chance to turn the situation in their favor. The boy and the alien girl moved quickly but quietly toward the narrow valley. The warriors noticed them and began to pursue, but the boy used the terrain cleverly. He led them along a winding path, hiding behind rocks and small hills. The warriors followed, unaware of the trap awaiting them. As the duo reached the narrowest part of the valley, the boy activated a small mechanism he had prepared earlier. Loose stones and branches tumbled down from above, creating obstacles in the path. The warriors were forced to slow down and move carefully. The alien girl watched in awe as the boy used every tool and trick at his disposal. He had prepared simple but effective traps and distractions, using the environment to their advantage. She realized that humans were clever in ways that relied not on brute strength, but on intelligence and creativity. Her trust in him grew even stronger. Together, they were more than just survivors. They were a team capable of outsmarting a much larger and stronger force. As the warriors struggled through the narrow path, the boy and the alien girl climbed higher along the ridge. From this vantage point, they could see a distant forest and a shimmering river. The boy pointed to it. "If we can reach the river, we can escape," he whispered. The alien girl nodded, understanding that hope was within reach. They moved quickly, using shadows and cover to stay out of sight. The warriors were close behind, but the traps and obstacles slowed them down. The duo reached the edge of the forest, where thick trees offered more protection. They ducked behind a large tree, catching their breath. The river glimmered in the sunlight beyond, wide and fast-flowing. The boy quickly assessed the situation. Crossing the river would be dangerous, but it was their best chance to escape the warriors. He helped the alien girl find a sturdy branch, and together they constructed a small raft using logs and vines. The alien girl watched, amazed at how resourceful he was. When the raft was ready, they carefully stepped onto it. The boy guided it into the water, keeping it steady as the current tried to push them off course. The alien girl held on tightly, trusting him completely. They moved slowly across the river, the water rushing past their legs. Behind them, the warriors reached the riverbank, shouting and gesturing in frustration. They could not swim well, and the current was too strong. The boy smiled faintly, realizing that cleverness and courage had once again kept them safe. Halfway across the river, the boy noticed a whirlpool forming near a large rock. He adjusted the raft, using his strength and balance to steer them away from danger. The alien girl clung to him, her wide eyes filled with awe and trust. Step by step, they reached the opposite bank. The water lapped gently against the shore as they stepped off the raft, safe for the moment. They looked back, seeing the warriors struggling against the current. They had survived another challenge. The valley stretched before them, filled with green hills and scattered trees. The boy led the alien girl up a gentle slope, keeping an eye on the river. The warriors had been slowed by the current, but they were persistent. The boy realized they could not stop moving. Every step had to be calculated, every decision precise. He pointed to a small cave at the top of the hill. "We can rest there," he whispered. The alien girl nodded, relief washing over her face. Inside the cave, they found dry ground and soft moss. The boy helped the alien girl lie down, arranging leaves and cushions to make her comfortable. She closed her eyes, exhausted but safe. The boy sat nearby, watching the entrance. He thought about the journey so far, rivers, forests, valleys, and warriors. They had faced impossible odds and survived because of courage, intelligence, and trust in each other. He felt proud, knowing that human determination had carried them through. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The boy and the alien girl looked out from the cave, seeing the forest and river below. They had escaped the warriors, at least for now. He realized that their journey was not over, but they had proven that humans could survive, outsmart enemies, and protect those in need. The alien girl turned to him, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You saved me," she whispered. He smiled. "No," he said softly. "We survived together." Night fell over the valley and the stars appeared, twinkling above. The boy kept watch while the alien girl slept. He thought about the challenges they had faced and the courage they had shown. He knew that humans were capable of great things. Strength, cleverness, and determination could overcome almost any danger. The alien girl had seen this firsthand, and he knew she would never forget it. The next morning, they continued their journey. The valley opened into a wide plain filled with wildflowers and soft grass. The boy helped the alien girl walk, supporting her as they moved. They encountered no immediate danger, but they remained vigilant. Every step was careful, every sound noted. Humans survived not only by fighting but by thinking ahead, by using intelligence and creativity to stay alive. The boys' skills had kept them safe through every challenge. As they walked, they came across a small river wider than the first. The boy examined it carefully. The current was strong, but there were fallen trees and rocks that could serve as a crossing. He guided the alien girl carefully, testing each step before moving forward. Together, they crossed safely, reaching the opposite bank. The alien girl smiled faintly, her trust and admiration for him growing. She had seen humans do what her own people might not have, survive through courage, intelligence, and cleverness. In the distance, they saw a forest with tall trees and thick undergrowth. It seemed peaceful, a place where they could finally rest and recover. The boy led the alien girl there, moving carefully to avoid leaving tracks. They entered the forest, finding a small clearing with soft grass and a gentle stream. He helped her lie down, and she closed her eyes, finally able to rest. The boy watched over her, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. They had survived rivers, forests, warriors, and dangerous plains. For the first time in days, the boy felt a sense of peace. The alien girl slept peacefully beside him, and the valley around them seemed calm. He realized that their journey had shown the true strength of humans: courage, cleverness, and compassion. He had protected her, guided her, and together they had survived against overwhelming odds. The alien girl had learned to trust and rely on him, and he had learned that humans could make a difference in worlds beyond their own. The sun rose over the valley, casting golden light on the forest and plains. The boy and the alien girl looked toward the horizon, feeling hope and determination. They had survived impossible odds, and now a new future awaited them. Together, they could face anything. The warriors had been defeated not by strength alone, but by cleverness, teamwork, and human courage. The boy realized that this was just the beginning. Humans could thrive anywhere, even in alien worlds filled with danger. They stayed in the valley for several days, recovering and regaining strength. The alien girl walked more easily with each passing day. She laughed softly, exploring the flowers and trees, and the boy smiled, feeling proud. They had escaped the warriors and discovered a world of beauty, safety, and possibility. The boy knew that humans could survive anywhere, adapt to any challenge, and protect those who could not protect themselves. As they prepared to continue their journey, the boy looked at the alien girl and smiled. "We will be okay," he said. "Together we can face anything." She nodded, trusting him completely. They took one last look at the valley, the river, and the forest that had been their refuge. Then they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face new challenges with courage, cleverness, and hope. Their journey had been long, dangerous, and uncertain. They had crossed rivers, forests, and plains. They had evaded 50 warriors, survived hidden sanctuaries, and relied on each other's strengths. But through it all, they had learned something important. Humans could overcome danger not by strength alone, but by intelligence, courage, and compassion. The boy and the alien girl had proven that survival, trust, and cleverness could triumph against impossible odds. As they disappeared into the distant forest, the valley remained quiet, peaceful, and full of life. The boy had shown that humans could adapt, survive, and protect those in need. The alien girl had discovered courage, trust, and hope. Together, they had created a story of survival, cleverness, and friendship that would be remembered in both their worlds. And the sunrise over the valley promised that the journey of courage and ingenuity had only just begun.